there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's time for an edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my world of comics. How's it going, everybody? Not so bad here. First up, this week there will be no comic book roundtable on my channel. Go check out Brandon on Mac Hammer's channel. I will put a link down below to his channel. Same time as when I host my show. He's basically going to be hosting the show. Most of the usual faces, I believe, will be over there, hopefully, and they will talk this week's books. The reason I won't be on, as I've kind of been saying off and on, because it's preoccupying a large chunk of my mind. My eldest kid is graduating from high school this weekend, and Saturday is the actual graduation ceremony. So I will be at that. I will be shirking my my comic book duties for parental duties. So I will be off doing that. Doubt I would make it for any of the shows, so Brandon is, like I said, kindly going to be doing it, and that'll be awesome. Check it out. It'll be a good show, I am sure. Lots of great books came out this week, so should be some great conversations. Some of those new Rebirth books come out from DC. I know things like Deadly Class. It's the end of the story arc for Deadly Class, so I'm sure it's probably pretty traumatic and awesome. Don't know if anybody on the show is picking up Civil War 2, if anybody's dipping into the into that. I'm not, but I hear there's some pretty dramatic things happened at the end of that issue. For all the uproar over the potential Captain America Hail Hydra Nazi, I would think that this would be way more important than that little thing. But I won't really mention it here because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who has not read it yet. So yeah, so gonna be some great books to talk about. So I would encourage you all to check that out. Me not doing the show may mean that I actually do a Monster Comics review and No Cape, which I haven't done for months and months and months. I may do one of those next week if I can squeeze in the time to do it, because otherwise I won't get to talk about my books. Anybody who tuned in to last week's Comic Book Roundtable, we had a great discussion on the Rebirth, DC's Rebirth book. Definitely a difference of opinion on some of the stuff. I have more to say about it, but I'll probably keep it to myself. Don't necessarily want it to come across as being a, now that I'm by myself, I can say what I want to say, kind of a thing. But I don't, the whole Watchmen thing that's folded into the stuff, there's been discussion around that, and not just like my comment section, but on the internet in general and whatnot, because that's the place I get to talk to people about comic books is on the internet. I'm almost inclined to think that if you don't think anybody should do anything with the Watchmen or whatever, that the whole thing is horrible and that sort of thing. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. And now, those aspects of Rebirth were my least favorite parts of the thing. I don't know that they really work. I'll be curious to see how they address it going forward. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of is. It wasn't important. I kind of just ignore that part of the book, I guess, even though it is a a significant chunk at the beginning and the end of the book. But I really don't think it's a personal insult to anybody who's worked on the characters or whatnot. Like I don't think it's an affront to Alan Moore. I don't think it's an affront to Dave Gibbons, either one of them. As much as their contracts aren't the greatest, and yeah, maybe DC questionably has found a loophole in a way to, as long as they keep producing the book, they get to hang on to those characters and keep making money on it. It is the contract that was signed at the time, and my understanding is at the time they actually got some of the best contracts that were being put out at the time for creators working for the big two. I don't necessarily think they owe anything to those creators to continue to use those works other places and whatnot. Yeah, and certainly Dave Gibbons doesn't own nor does Alan Moore own, like, the 9-page, the 9-panel grid, for instance. Which, I don't know. It's not just Ryan. Ryan, we talked about it on the show. Talked about it with Ryan. Ryan C. was on, which was awesome to have him on. He clearly reads quite a few of the books, so it's great getting to talk with him about the books to get a different opinion. But it wasn't just Ryan. I've seen other people make the comments too, and I just think it's really strange. I'm sure 9-panel grids appeared before Watchmen. I'd almost be willing to bet money on it. But, whatever. Clearly, a lot of people are interested in Rebirth, whether they like it or not. It is already, last week is when the book came out. It is already going to a third printing because the second printing that they had already started on was still not going to fill the needs as far as that goes. I've been hearing a lot also on the internet from a lot of people, my comic book friends out there. They went to their shops to pick up some of these new Rebirth books, and they were all sold out. So either it's immensely popular and way more interesting than what people expected, or just the comic book retailers woefully underestimated how much excitement there might be around these books, and it did not earn enough, which I think is a shame. Because my understanding is, and if there's any retailers out there watching this, or people who work in retail of comic books, my understanding is that DC was offering a return on the Rebirth books. So to some degree, to me that feels like a no risk kind of a thing. If you're able to return those books, so you're not at a loss if you can't sell them, why would you have not projected past what you were guessing the interest would be? But like I said, I don't work retail, so I don't really. Not with comic books and stuff like that. So I don't really know how hard that really would be to do. But anyway, lots of interesting stuff as far as that whole Rebirth thing goes, and how much energy there is around that and stuff. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, I haven't been on Twitter quite so much lately. My Twitter feed is full of lots of good people. My Twitter feed is also full of lots of passionate people. My Twitter feed is full of lots of people who I guess would be considered, minority groups of one sort or another, who are just trying to get their own space, to be able to share space with everybody else that's out there. And there's just been a lot of really kind of crappy stuff, crappy behavior in comic creation, in fandom, in attacks on fandom, death threats, and then the people who come to the defense of people who've gotten death threats but never bothered to come to the defense of people, in the minorities who have been dealing with those sorts of things for quite a bit longer. Quite honestly, it's just this whole group of things, making it awfully tough to be on Twitter right now. Just partially because everything's at 11, on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as intensity, everything's at 11, and certainly people need to yell and shout and scream to be heard initially, and to continue to be heard, because otherwise people don't yell and shout. Lots of times you're never heard in the first place. But once that yelling and shouting has hit and the attention is gotten, then it needs to be scaled back down somewhere where we can all actually have a real conversation about whatever the issue is. Because nobody on any side of any kind of an argument truly is going to listen to the other side's argument or discussion, not even an argument, or discussion, or to try and attempt to see somebody else's viewpoint on something, to have an understanding of why they feel the way they feel about whatever it is that's going on. If you're staying at 11 and it's all amped up here, no one listens to that. And I'm not saying if you're at a 5 having a conversation as far as intensity goes, not everyone's going to listen to you anyway. But you have a better chance of at least getting to those people who potentially are open-minded enough to begin to listen to what you have, what's going on, to move in that direction. And it just seems like right now everything seems to be at an 11, and it makes it hard. makes it hard to have a conversation, and I'm here about having a conversation. You know, for me, comic books fill a lot of niches. I like comic books just to have fun, and I want to read comic books just to have fun, but I also read comic books to, you know, to inform myself, to challenge myself about how I think about things and what's going on, explore different stuff, and just all the great things that writing and literature and entertainment can do for you beyond just having a good time. I like it for all those aspects. You know, and so I enjoy all those things. I enjoy those hard conversations. You know, I mean, as far as I think they're important to have, and I want to have them, but I also want to have fun too. You know, sometimes I want to be able to pick up my funny books and just laugh my ass off, or whatever. You know, so all those kinds of niches. Anyway, wandering off into just rambling now, and I don't necessarily want to do that, but so yeah. So if you see less of me on, that's kind of why. It's not that I've like forgotten Twitter or whatever. I just, you know, trying to catch some conversations without getting into the big stuff that hasn't scaled down enough to have a real conversation about and whatnot. You know, 2 weeks ago, had a conversation with a creator about pirating comics. They're a creator and they're pirating comics, and I think that's atrocious. And I'm still getting tweets about that. So none of it was bad. I mean, that's the nice thing about that was it was a conversation what I feel very passionately about, but everybody was civil. You know, clearly I'm just a Joe Schmo, and the creator's a pretty significant creator as far as at least independent work goes and whatnot, and so they have a huge fan base, and thankfully their fan base are continuing to tell me that I don't understand how consumerism works in 2016, but they're all doing it relatively in a civil fashion. And there's some people I think are poorly veiledly making fun of me, but that's fine. It's a good laugh. But anyway, so yeah, a little less time on Twitter. But hopefully, summer's going to hit. That means not so busy with the kids. So hopefully that means more videos. People in my house are also getting caught up on reading comic books. So hopefully at some point they'll be current. Chances are, if they're current, we may see more conversations, me doing more video conversations with people in my family about comics. I really enjoy doing that. I actually enjoy that more than just me talking to the camera. What I've discovered is happening now with me doing the comic book running table as much as I do, and I talk about, not all the books, I never talk about all the books that I read, but a good chunk of them. And I'm not quite so gung-ho to set like I'm doing right now and have a conversation with all of you out there, one-sidedly until I get replies, about my comic books when I just, like the day before or 2 days before, I just talked about them on Comic Roundtable. But if I have somebody else that I'm going to be chatting with about it, I can re-talk about those books quite a bit, I'm sure. So maybe we'll see more videos, which would be kind of cool. Kind of like to get back into that. I used to be 4 videos a week kind of a guy. That's kind of petered off, but it happens. But I'll be back. Just got done reading the first trade of the Paybacks. This is volume 1, put out by Dark Horse. Now the Paybacks is going to be produced by Heavy Metal Magazine, which I would assume isn't going to affect it any as far as what they have going on. Speaking of fun comics, this is a really fun comic. There's some serious stuff goes on in it, but there's a lot of laughs in it also. It's basically there's a guy by the name of Mr. Price. I don't know if he's the devil or whatever he is. He has basically been funding a bunch of people to be superheroes, villains too, actually, we find out. And once they can't pay their debt, when they get behind on their payments, a squad comes in, the Paybacks as they're called, come in to repossess things that were purchased with their money. So they'll repossess the equivalent of the Batcave and that sort of stuff. And they also enlist the people who still owe money, basically into their ranks to help them collect other debts, basically. And you work for them until you've paid off your debts. Some great characters in here, some fun characterizations. I really enjoyed the art. I really like the character design of a lot of these characters are really great. I was trying to see if I could find a decent picture to kind of really get what they're like. Dang it, I'm not really finding one right offhand. But yeah, you know, there's this Sasquatch character in here. You know, there's a big burly Russian guy in here. Shoot, it's a vampire leading here. But I just like the way the characters look. They all look really kind of cool. They have cool, like I said, cool character designs. Their costumes, the cut of their jib, just yeah. Well, I guess that's the cover, right? There's a cool group of characters, cool designs, and you know, interesting. There is a plot going on in it besides just the kind of hilarity of some of the heroes and stuff that they're doing repossession on and that sort of thing. Yeah, like I said, really enjoying it. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to pick it up in singles or I'm just going to stick with trades when it comes out. So yeah, Donnie Cates and Elliot Rahal do the script. Art is by Jeff Shaw, and colors by Lauren F. And the colors, I think, make a huge difference. And the colors almost give it the same kind of a feel and vibe of like, you know, a little more vibrant in places, but still gives it kind of the feel and vibe of like Tokyo Ghost. I don't know. There's just something about the almost texture of it, and maybe the inking too. I'm not sure. Not the actual style of drawing itself, but the coloring and the inking of it almost gives it a Murphy, Sean Murphy, and is it Luridge? Matt Hollingsworth? Damn, I apologize for that colorist, because I cannot remember that colorist's name. Whoever the colorist is doing the colors for Tokyo Ghost. It just has that kind of that same sort of color quality to it that I really do like. But no, really fun. Thank you for Mike, Sergeant America, and everybody else that kind of talked about the book a bunch in the Comic Roundtable. Made me interested in getting it. I couldn't find the singles at the time it was coming out, so by the time I thought, maybe I'll get the singles, you know, try and hunt them down. Then I just went and got the trade instead, and it was good fun. It's good fun. Next on my trade leading list, I think, is Popgun War. I think is what I'm going to be reading next, as far as a book that I'm carrying around with me as I'm out in the wild and get chances in between things to read. Of course, here at home, I've still got my big, thick hardbacks of BPRD that I am reading. Anything else? No, I don't think so. So anyway, as a reminder again, go check out Brandon McHammer. Check out his channel this Saturday at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. Hey, they may actually start on time, but go check them out on Saturday. If you usually are hanging out and watching me, go watch them. It should be, like I said, should be a fun time. All smart, cool cats on the show, talking books, just like when they're over on my channel. So anyway, have a great one, everybody, and I'm sure you'll see me Friday. I will probably do the quick, this is my books I got for the week, kind of a thing, and then it'll be next week before you see me again. Have a great one, everybody.